Real thoughts, real trades, real journey. A video journal documenting the lessons learned on my journey to becoming a disciplined trader. Welcome to Trading the Journey. I'm Neil, and today I want to share a trading day that taught me one important lesson. Let's see what the market had to teach me. Well, today was another one loss, one win scenario. Only this time, the winner covered the entire loss and then some. So overall, it was a pretty positive day. Will it happen like this all the time? Certainly not. I'm certainly going to be taking losses, but there is something that I did learn today. Well, of course, a couple of things. I wasn't patient enough to see a certain play out. I was looking for a Geyser trade, which basically means that the price makes an abnormal move in one direction, and then there are certain things that have to play out in order to get in the trade. That didn't happen. I was looking at it and was misreading the candles, and I ended up getting stopped out. When I tried to take a short in the opposite direction. So that happened, but while that was happening, another play was forming right on top of it. I immediately got stopped out and waited a few more seconds, and lo and behold, the fence trade played out real nice. I did not hesitate to take that one. What you're seeing on the screen is where I basically got in and where my stop loss was. And I did get the 2R risk reward out of this. Now, one thing I've been kind of mulling over for a little while, it was my trade management. Before when the trade was going in the when the trade closed over my 1-1 risk reward, I would move the stop up to break even. When it hit 1.5, I would move it up to the 1R and protect that trade and let it go from there. And if it hit the 2R, it hit the 2R. If it didn't, then I would come out with a 1R. After viewing some Steven Adams videos, Trade Your Edge, you can look him up on YouTube. His strategies are very simplified. And that's like when I talk about Geyser and fence and power bar and all that, that's, what I'm referring to or stuff that I learned from him. He's not my mentor, although I would like to be. So I would like to, have him as a mentor and really take this to the next level, but that's down the road. There's some things I have to take care of before I do that. But as you can see, the trade played out. So what happened was when the price touched the 1R, then I moved my stop up. I didn't wait for a close. I just moved the stop up, and it would become a free trade because once it hits the 1R, then it might continue going, and it might turn. Sometimes when it would, I would wait for the close above 1R, and some of those times that the trade would reverse and just stop me out for a loss. It would touch the 1R, but it wouldn't close above, at or above the 1R. So trying a kind of a different management. So when it touched the 1R, I moved the stop up and left it there. But then I made kind of this discretionary decision. The slow moving average, the blue line you see on the screen, surpassed my break even. And instead of leaving the trade alone and letting it play out, and thankfully it didn't hurt this trade, I attached my stop loss to the slow moving average. NinjaTrader lets you do that. It's called a trailing stop loss. It's easy to do. There's tutorials and stuff on it. You can look it up if you want. But like I said, thankfully it didn't hurt the trade. It could have, but not in this case. I should have just left it there. I don't know what caused me to attach it like that. Maybe it was still the voices in my head just trying to say protect the trade, protect the trade, protect the trade. It could have been that. It may have been fear of, leaving profits on the table or whatnot. Who knows? But I did what I did. Thankfully, it didn't hurt the trade, and I still came out of this a huge winner. The market could have easily said, no, don't do that. And there were times that it did that when I would move my stop up. It would just, boom, just come right back down. Thankfully, it didn't do it this time. So what I'm working on this phase is my trade management. So what I'm going to be doing at this point is, as soon as it touches the 1 hour, move the stop to break even plus commissions, just enough to cover the commissions, nothing more. If there's slippage, if it stops me out, then there's slippage. It's only going to be like a couple of bucks, maybe, if that. But when the price hits it, I'll move it up and leave it there for the rest of the trade. If it wins, it wins. If it doesn't, free trade regardless. That's what I'm going to be working on. I'll get stopped out probably a lot more, but in this case, in this way, I would mitigate a lot of those losses. The losses won't be as big, if there's any losses at all. There are going to be some losses, but that's stuff that I'll deal with down the road, because no trading strategy is 100%. So that is the plan moving forward. And as I get more comfortable and collect more data, I'll start refining that management and tighten it up to capture as much profits as I can, if it doesn't hit my target. But I feel pretty confident in the way that I'm going to start managing managing my trades from here on out. So once again, as soon as it touches the 1 hour, not close, as soon as it touches, I'm moving my stop to break even. It becomes a free trade at that point. We'll see what happens going forward, and hopefully the whichever direction I go in, I can win some more trades. Thank you for joining me for today's lesson. The market has voted. Today's lesson is written. I hope something from today's trade helps you on your own journey toward becoming a more disciplined trader. If today's trade reminded you of something you've experienced yourself, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed today's journal entry, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button on that video and subscribe to follow the journey. Until next time, real thoughts, real trade, real journey.